Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome out. I just want to start with the toast because, we skipped that last pod, and I'm sorry about that. We just got a little carried away. Everybody grab your glasses. Go ahead and get started on this ride. It goes as such. We all fall, but we say don't trip. We all been called, but all stall a bit. We all stand tall until that time we slip. Just admit, without the grace of God, I'm really bad at this. Hit him with this.
And some people at different churches, they don't respect people from other churches. And that is called gracism. When people have gracism, they ain't offering grace to everybody. No.
I heard that like 3 weeks ago. I wanted to hurry up and play that. That's a funny take from that dude. I don't know why he gritting his teeth at the end of that joint like that, though. That reminds me of people on cocaine. But anyway, I digress. What's up, y'all? What's been up?
Oh man, I had an exciting week. You know what I'm saying? Hey, it's week 1 of the NFL, baby.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Yeah, buddy.
Man.
How's it feel?
Man, that energized my soul. That music right there, baby. Woo! Yes.
How's it
the mistress of my life. The wife has given me a pass around this time.
That boy got a pass.
Yeah.
Jumped off.
Yes. So this week was my annual fantasy football draft.
Okay.
The one I've been doing for about 8 years now. I've been doing it for about 8 years.
Heard you been hitting licks.
Yeah.
Heard that.
Man.
Heard about that.
Yeah, I travel out to Thousand Oaks every year.
Okay.
My man, he throws a fantasy football barbecue.
Okay.
I was going to say, I know the food got to be crazy.
Man. Hey, brisket, smoking for like 22 hours.
So he's showing out.
Yeah.
He's showing out.
That's like the main course every year, the brisket.
Okay.
Yeah.
The brisket is the main course. So, yeah, we all go out there.
Yeah.
And have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got about a 5-foot trophy and a ring that we pass around every year.
Nice.
Yes, I've had it for I had it twice in 8 years. You know what I'm saying?
That's love.
So hang that mantle up on my wall. You know what I'm saying? I carry that with pride. I might get it. I might get that ring tatted on my shoulder. You know what I'm saying?
Championship.
Hey, fantasy football, baby. It's the pride of men right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it was an exciting time. We had a good time, but then we had a little downer this year because one of the guys that been in it since day one with us, he passed away this year.
Oh man.
Yeah, and he had cancer, unexpected cancer.
Okay.
He wasn't feeling well. I think it was in his esophagus or somewhere.
Yeah.
Stomach or it was somewhere.
Yeah.
And we talked about it when we was there last year because he had shaved his head and all that.
Yeah.
And one of my white brothers out there.
Yeah.
And he came with a bald head. And I'm like, what's going on? So you shaved? He's like, yeah, well, I had no choice. I got diagnosed with cancer. Like, what? And we was all shocked.
And who was doing chemo?
Yeah, he was doing chemo, radiation, all that.
Yeah.
But when he found out, it was already stage 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I was like, man, stage 4. You find out at stage 4. You know what I'm saying? And about 3 months after I would say maybe about 5 months ago, he passed away.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, so we had a little moment there, between the fellas, and we ended up naming the fantasy league trophy after him. And
I was gonna ask.
It's nothing big to the world, but it's big to us. You know what I'm saying?
Like I was literally sitting here like I'm asking.
That's dope. We've been doing it for, like I said, 8 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you kind of grow a relationship with these folks.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Every year,
I know y'all talking trash all week, right?
All week. All through the
how you like
season.
That pick now?
Yeah,
somebody we doing good.
Yeah, and we even kind of got involved in each other's lives a little bit. Like one of the homies, his daughter is she plays tennis, so we check up on her, you know. Oh, how the daughter doing? Oh yeah, she won the tournament, this tournament, and this and that. So, you know, and it's a lot of networking between us. Because we got like 2 lawyers, a fire chief. You know what I'm saying? Like one of the homies' father used to be like the CEO of Gelson's Groceries or something. Something like that. I mean, we in Thousand Oaks. You know what I'm saying? So you already know what the money bag
CEO
like.
of a grocery store.
You know what I'm saying?
Dope.
Yeah,
it's
so
kind of like y'all build a little fellowship.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's
and
dope.
so we all, you know, they want to get together and go to Tahoe. You know what I'm saying? Different things like that. So, I mean, and one of the brothers, actually my brother, he's involved in the league and kind of end up being one of his frat brothers. You know what I'm saying? That they didn't know, but you know what I'm saying, once they got to know each other, like, oh yeah, they were from the same frat and this and that. So it's a lot of network opportunities, and I mean real cool, genuine people. You know what I'm saying?
That sounds dope.
And one of my little nephews from the church end up playing in the championship game against one of the boys' sons over there. And when the Thousand Oaks played Orange Vista last year in the championship, so we was talking about that. So I mean, it's just funny how the world just come together. You know what I'm saying?
What that stadium look like? Did you go?
No, I didn't go.
That sound like that looked like a college.
I didn't go. It's over by Oaks Christian. It's not Oaks Christian, but it's one of the high schools over there.
Jay, have you ever seen Oaks Christians Oaks Christian High School? Man, that joint looked like USC. I'm talking about plush.
That means they tax dollars is at work.
Listen
this
here.
private, I think. And it's private.
It's private.
Private?
It's just 20 grand a year. Probably.
That's what my boy told me that. And we were talking about that.
They just papered up.
He said his daughter wanted to go because she was bored at public school because she's like a real high achiever, real math. And he said that she wanted to go to Oaks Christian, so he went over there, talked to him, and then they brought a representative to the house, and the representative came with a big old bag with school gear and all that. The daughter was hyped, like, yeah, we can't get you. Then she brought, like my man said, she brought out the receipt. 20 racks
a year.
20 racks a year.
For only $1,500 a month. Your child.
High school.
So my man was like, he looked at his wife like, we can't do this. You know,
I totally understand.
And then, you know, it just brought his daughter down. So wifey was like, and then Pops was like, you know, he talked to the headmaster of the school, whatever. It's like, yo, how do it feel when you come to the crib and you get my daughter a hype, and then you bring out this bill, and then I gotta watch my daughter get disappointed because I can't put out 20 grand a year for this.
I mean, high school, man, that's a tall ask. You know, I could understand if some of that went towards your college.
Hey, but then look. This is when you have that right rib, you know what I'm saying? The real right rib next to you. Like, she made the phone call like, oh, so I know my daughter, she's an athlete, you know, she plays soccer. But if it was a boy on a football team, y'all wouldn't be asking for this 20 grand.
Straight Scally.
It'd be straight. Oh, man.
They give out
Guess
the Scallies.
what? Woo! It went from 20 to 10.
All right, cut it in half.
We go.
Cut it in half. And so she ended up going to Oaks Christian, graduated from Oaks Christian. Now she's at, NYU? And it's called NYU? She's over there. I think she's trying to be a banker or something. That's
what I was sounds like money well spent.
So that's what I was going to say. When you get to spots like that, you on a pipeline to success because the top colleges.
You hope, because I'm pretty sure some kids.
Somebody's tricking that off for their parents. But
I'm pretty sure.
But on average, you thinking like this is a pipeline of high achievers, high performers for whatever reason.
Exactly.
I don't think they know different than our kids in the hood, but they getting different opportunities.
That's the game.
So they get looked at as high achievers. And you know, it's like
they get different opportunities, but then they get
classes and everything is different.
And then like I never thought about being a banker. Growing up, ain't nobody told me I could be a banker. What is a banker? You know what I'm saying? Nobody told me I could be a hedge fund manager. We didn't even know what that was. You know what I'm saying? Till we got grown, like, this is a real thing.
I knew the jingle, the Knicks check cashing, the Knicks check cashing. You're somebody special. I knew that.
That's what we did.
For real,
So I didn't know about no bank, but I knew Knicks was going to give me most of my money. Right there on the spot. I knew that.
Most of it.
And if you really was hood, it was a local grocery store, the local liquor store, cash your check. You know what I'm saying?
Cash your check.
The same dude that let the little 6-year-old buy cigarettes for his grandfather and grandmother, something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Meanwhile, they at Oaks Christian or what school that was doing a mock trial of a whole Supreme Court case.
Hello.
That's what they do instead of going to regular school. They having a Supreme Court case in the courtroom.
Yes.
And y'all wonder why they didn't want to go to school.
Such is life, bro. Such is life.
So that's $10,000. That's money well spent.
Yeah. So that was my week this week. So like I said, I had a good time in this week one of the NFL, baby.
Yeah. James, what's up with you?
Oh man, it's so crazy because it seemed like every time we talk about something happens right after. Like Bookie is a prophet at this point. I think he said he had the gift of finagling last week, but Bookie might be a finagler, and it's a lot of coincidence, I guess you could say, with my week. So I'm at work. They giving out these trainings. You know how they give out the trainings so that you could be culturally aware and sensitive and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah,
man, that joint was intense, bro. Unconscious bias. Y'all ever had to do a training on unconscious? Y'all ever spend any time thinking about unconscious bias?
I know a little bit about that.
Man, they was talking about all kinds of stuff like how a person dress, how a person talks, how a person looks, their ethnicity, their dialect, their vocabulary, their education, their title, all of these reasons. And then they was talking about affinity bias too, where it's like, let's say you got a manager who's also a football fan, and you end up inviting that manager into your fantasy football league. And then now y'all got this common ground that the rest of the team don't have. So y'all keying at the water, you know, y'all keying in the coffee break room about the fantasy football. Y'all talking and texting, and y'all best friends now. And the rest of us feel away like, hey, I might be a little tight about this little fantasy football thing. Guess who gonna get the next promotion? You know what I mean? Because they got the little football alliance, or like you say, frat brothers. Or one of them that they brought up was, I wasn't even expecting. Like, you ever had a job where like 17 people gather outside and smoke cigarettes together? Yeah, buddy, I seen that. Boy, some alliances get built out there over a couple of Newports. Yes,
that's the truth. That is the truth. I've seen that play. Yeah. So
they talked about that. They felt a way about.
So what they were trying to tell you, like, or just expose the fact that you have these biases because y'all click up in these different ways, or
they're trying to say, like, so since we're all in training or management or both, they're saying like, okay, look, y'all got to keep track of your blind spots. Let's talk about a few of these. If somebody's overweight, don't assume that they're lazy. You know what I'm saying? That could be like, it was brutal, bro. They was going all the way. And most of us have some kind of unconscious bias. It just took a matter of time for all of us to be like, I think that one is appropriate, you know? Like mine was fashion. Yeah. Mine was fashion. I'm like, you come to an interview all disheveled, you not getting a job, dog. I think unorganized fashion to me is an unorganized mind. And they all push back like, that's not true, Jay. Like, you can interview somebody, and the dude said it like this too, Jay. You would appreciate it this. Dude said, I seen somebody come to an interview in a wife beater and some shorts. And they was like, you probably shouldn't say wife beater like that. Oh, wow. You probably shouldn't call a tank top a wife beater.
Yeah. That means he 40 plus.
That's how he heard it.
That's exactly how.
That's how he heard it. He was like, well, that's probably mine.
That's how I would have said it. And in the meeting, like, that dude had on a wife beater, you know what I'm saying, some slides.
I don't know where we got that from, but I guess we all started out watching Cops. Yeah. And every time the person beat their wife, they was in that tank top.
Every black movie.
I think it predated us.
Every movie. Yeah. Not just black. Don't put that on us.
People were saying that. We learned that because our generation didn't come up with that. No. The people before us were saying that. And I think it was because of what you're saying, that character was always doing that. Or maybe before there was a character on the movie, like it was the dude in their neighborhood.
Yes. I've seen that dude on the corner going in.
That's what I'm saying.
We seen him for real.
And it was the rednecks in the movie.
It was like with the uniform. It was a uniform for DV. It was a uniform. That's what it was.
And then we just started calling it that.
Every culture had somebody, the Vietnamese dude. He was beating up his
Smoking
wife.
a cigarette.
Wait, the cigarette's not gonna leave his mouth.
That's it.
While he beating his kid.
Coming out with that joint on and that cigarette, that was like, oh yeah.
Your man had on the white. What that? Who was that? Was it Samuel L. Jackson when he had an old girl chain in the house?
Nobody watched that. Nobody has seen that.
You know what type of movie I'm talking about?
It's called Snake something.
Yeah,
it's called Snake something.
Yeah, he had her chained up in the house, and he had on his wife beater.
That's it.
Nobody ain't seen that.
That is the hateful uniform.
Yeah,
that is the
that
one.
meme. Now we know that meme.
Yeah,
he got
it's
that
the
look.
meme.
It's the meme with that look.
Yeah,
that's from that movie.
That's from that.
Snake
with the like the gray mini afro kind of joint. Yeah.
Dude,
I seen that meme today. Somebody was frying some watermelon. My man was frying some watermelon, and the black people was at a rage like this the blackest thing I ever seen.
I'm pretty
Why
sure
are you
they were
deep
saying that.
frying a watermelon? Boy, this the blackest thing ever. And then he had like, okay, I'm gonna fry some regular chicken, but I'm gonna put it in some watermelon glaze. They was putting that Samuel Jackson meme up like you setting the race back by yourself. You single handedly setting the race back.
You let that man live and be creative.
That man cooked. He fried some watermelon. He breaded it, deep fried it, and then he was like, "Or I fried some chicken and put the watermelon glaze on it." Wow! And they was shooting him that Samuel Jackson meme, like, "Bro, stop this."
Oh my God.
We all over the place, but yeah, the unconscious bias joint was dope. I got a chance to see what mine was because I remember one time being in a recruiting session where we all sitting around the table just like this.
Yeah,
you got all the people that got a college degree. You got all the people, Jay. You'll have all the people that have experience in the industry, and I'll have everybody else, and we'll be trying to figure out how to get through these 200 resumes.
Yeah,
and somebody would be like, Shaniqua. I'd be like, well, hold on. Don't just disqualify somebody because they name sound like they might be a little hood. It might be quality people. Like, let's not do that. And I remember being in a room full of people that wasn't black that was laughing at Tanisha. I'm like, nah, I know a Tanisha that's a manager. Like, hold on. What you doing? Like, it's names that's not like yours. Everybody's name ain't gonna be Kelly and Karen. Everybody not gonna be Johnny and Bobby.
Yeah.
But
you sure don't want to be a Karen. All right, I'm 24. That's not the name you remember.
Well, are you setting your kids up for that though? I mean, you can't change the world. The world is the world. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
So, am I doing my kids a disservice by naming her LaQuisha?
Bookie, unfortunately, I'm going to have to agree with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I hate it. I wish we had the freedom to do whatever we want and name whatever, but just like James just explained, you know, it's some decision makers who ain't growing up around Lakeisha's or whatever, and they have all their stereotypes, you know, in their mind, you know, from whatever. It used to be from crazy movies, but now it's just from social media, and they looking at every Lakeisha that might, you know, be doing something crazy but it's like James said, that doesn't mean every Lakeisha. And I'm sorry, Lakeisha, we doing your name like this.
Nah, it's not fair at all. It's definitely not fair.
It's not fair.
It's really not fair.
I felt the way. Like, I walked out the room on one of them. Like, nah, this not cool, man. Like, this not cool. Because I know y'all done forgot that my whole family is black. I know I don't look like him. Last name is Iglesias, but no, hold on, man. Yeah. You talking about people that I know and love that may not have these traditional names like, you know, Karen Jones that you used to, but they high quality, high performers. And that was one of the unconscious bias joints, like names, weight, ethnicity was obvious, but the one that wasn't obvious was like affinity. Like, oh, you play tennis? Oh, me too. And then you end up getting a promotion. Or you like hip hop? Oh, me too. Oh, you rap?
Those, I would see those. And then I most definitely remember seeing the smokers work. They just because you got to go off somewhere, usually in the same area. And then I would notice like, oh, all of them over there chopping it up. And it's like, and then I remember one dude at the LA Times, he did good and he did get promoted. They would be smoking. He was regular, just like me, but he smoked. And so he went over there and before you know it,
it's relationship building, bro.
Heavyweights over there, though, is what we saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Heavyweight decision makers over there smoking it up.
Bruh, work at the county. And you see, we used to call them we were like, they go to smoke club. Because when we pull up in the parking lot, they're there early.
Yep.
They're there before everybody just to get together to smoke before they go into work. Yep. They're like, well, we about to be stressed out today. Let's get our smokes in. You know what I'm saying? And then they have their breaks. Let's go take our smoke break. They take their smoke break together. If they eating lunch, they're going to eat, then smoke.
Yep.
All that.
Their second break, they're gonna smoke. So it's like they're building a relationship. So if smoker one becomes a supervisor and another position come up, what they go look to their smoker homie.
They've been chopping it up every day, 5 times a day.
Exactly.
For how long? Yeah.
And then you'll feel some type of way if the smoker homie didn't give it to you. They gave it to the non-smoker. Like, hold on, we smoke. Yeah. Man, I just spot you 2 cigarettes, 2 squares.
Give my lighter.
Last
Give
week.
my lighter
You know what I'm
back.
saying? Well, you didn't have it. You know what I'm saying?
We got some talking. Yeah, let's go talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I seen that at play.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned that because this week at work, when I was at work, I was one of the coordinators like, Lamar, can you help me do something? And so he gave me a little task to do. So I went upstairs in the room and I was doing it, rearranging some stuff. Then he came up there like, I'll be back. Then he came back. He was like, I just wanted to come back. I wanted to go get my phone, so I wanted to show you my lineup. Yeah. I did my fantasy draft. You know what I'm saying? So me and him in the room, we talking fantasy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then he like, what you be doing on Sundays? Where you go watch the game? And he's a Raider fan. Like, where you go watch the games at? And I was like, after church, I go. Most of the time I'm at the crib, or I go to Shipwreck, or I go to the Yard House. Watch. Look, we need to hook up one. Now this is me and the coordinator. You know what I'm saying? We talk. So it's like I understand what you're saying, James.
That's it.
Because you got something in common. So now you go from there to now you confide in you in different things, and you know what I'm saying. That can happen.
Absolutely.
So I understand it.
Hey, I'm gonna just keep it a buck. Like, I love cigarettes. Now I quit.
Yeah,
but I enjoy them. Like, present tense, enjoy them. I quit because you're supposed to quit, but I enjoyed them so much. And here's the thing: when I spent time overseas, I spent some time overseas. Listen, I spent some time in India, right?
Yeah.
And all of the other executives, we all out there. It's like 20 of us. We executives. We teaching all of the people how to answer the phones. All them phone calls that y'all hate.
Yeah.
we out there teaching them all of that. Man, when we used to go down there and smoke with them, they would be in shock. Like, James and them finna smoke with us. Like, it was like they celebrated us, man. They treated us like royalty after that. And we would be down there chopping it up, telling stories. And these are like, think about this. These are people that drive 2 hours from a small village in India.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Yeah.
Small village. And this job takes care of that entire village.
Wow.
So when we get to work and we out there smoking and whatever, and we smoking, like, they telling us stories, and it's like, it's really making them feel like, these dudes from America, these rich, successful, powerful people from America is how they saw us.
Of course.
And we just out there smoking with them, and it just really humanized us. You feel me? So that's one of the reasons why I enjoyed it, because those smoke breaks do build relationships. Yeah. But they do kill you, so it wasn't a good idea. So.
I remember that. I was like, we pulled up. I forgot where we was at. We might have been we might have been smoking cigars or something.
Yeah.
And this dude came out, pulled out of the pack, and pack on his head.
Pack of what?
Like, I don't even know. I never even seen that brand of cigarettes before. The one you had. I'm like, what is that? I was over in India. I was upstairs. I'm like, what? This dude is smoking some Indian cigarettes.
Nigga smoking beaties.
And he had his little what you call it, the little Applejack hat on, and he pulled it out and started smacking it on the bottom of his head. It's like, this dude left and came back as a professional cigarette smoker.
That boy came back with new skills. Well, speaking of smoking, this is a great segue. What have I been up to? Well, I can say, when you guys, by the time this episode comes out, I know it will be more than 30 days since I smoked weed.
Clap it up for him, Jay. Clap it up.
Hey, where is the applause?
Clap it up for him.
Yes.
Salute.
It's been more than 30 days, I know, at this point. And to be honest with y'all, it's been more than, like, for me, it's been really like more than a 30-year situation with
struggle.
Nah, not no fight and struggle. We're not gonna front and like we were fighting and struggling all the time. But nah, it's just I just was a heavy weed smoker, and it was first introduced to it like 11th grade. Now understand, Lord willing, I'll be celebrating my 50th at the end of this year, right? So I'm telling you how long it's been around, right? But I got to the point where it was like morning, noon, and night, like smoking all the time. It's like, and still a professing believer. I'm not saying that I wasn't a believer all this time. No, I believe you could be a believer and still be dealing with being in bondage to a certain thing. Because there is some room. I feel like there's people who may dabble on the weekend or dabble on, when they go, on vacation and that kind of thing, and are people who use it rightly, in a sense. Some would argue like for pain management and that kind of stuff. And that's cool. That's one thing, but it's another thing to like idolize it, and it just becomes like the thing that you want to do all the time. And I'm talking about all the time, like even before church, even before church, going up to church singing, Lord, I lift your name all high, and being somewhere else with it. I'm talking about like that, you know what I mean? And then coming to the point where, because but like I said, picking it up like in high school, that's one thing. And even back then, it wasn't like an everyday thing or whatever. Because one, I didn't have no everyday money for it to be like that. Yeah. But I think like later on, like when I graduated high school and then started running the streets heavy, that's when I picked up the everyday habit, waking up in the morning or whatever, creating a very stressful life for myself, and then coping that way. And that's what you learn over time. Well, I'm learning now is that it was for me a coping mechanism. It was how I got by. It was how, not to feel certain things. And now I'm at a point where I'm living life on, as they say, life on life terms. But for me, I needed help to stop. It wasn't like because I was such a heavy user, because it was all day, every day, I had to get some serious help. So y'all remember when I went to New Zealand? It was around that time, right before I went to New Zealand. Me and wifey was just, not going at it, but my wife had really got to the point where it was like, yo, I really want you. I don't want to continue living like this and having that around, and finally just, putting her foot down. And I knew God was like moving and working with her, because prior to this, I'm sitting around some days just praying, God, take this from me. Like I don't even know why I'm doing this no more. I don't even know the motivation of it no more, but I know I'm having trouble stopping. And lo and behold, not too soon after that kind of prayer, that challenge came, and wifey was like, do something. Now, it was crazy because the opportunity to go to New Zealand came up at the same time, and my wife was having no parts of that. She didn't care. She was like, good, this will give you some time for us to be apart and sort through this or what have you. Yeah. Because I was getting, pretty much drawn into a crossroad. Like, boy, make up your mind. But I told my wife, I said, it got to this, because we was going back and forth. I was trying to still compromise and figure out how I could compromise, because I went kicking and screaming. I didn't go like, oh, this is a bad thing. But still knowing, I needed help. So I told her, I said, if you come to this trip with me and do the hard thing, because you don't really want to come at this point, and for a good reason. And then I said, if you do that, do this hard thing, I will do the hard thing and jump into some type of program when I get back. And so I jumped into like an intensive outpatient rehab program. Yeah. Where you pretty much, you stay at home, what have you, but you check in with them in person like a couple times a week. They check your pee, see where you at. And then you do meetings, like AA. Like you do meetings. I do 2 meetings a day, and just been intensive intensively, like in this program and doing that. And it's a beautiful thing. You know, I got clarity and realized, you know, where the best way to say this is like where I was trying to be when I was getting high all the time and trying to find this peace, if you will, because again, it's just a coping mechanism, a bad one. But where I was trying to go is where I am now. And it was so crazy because God was trying to show me like, you really don't need it. But you got to think about how long I've been playing around. Now, understand throughout that whole time, it wasn't all day, every day.
Yeah.
There were times, matter of fact, when I met my wife initially 20 years ago, it was like, it was a beautiful thing because I didn't want to get high. It was like, I just wanted to spend time with her and it was cool. And it was like this new thing that came around. It was like, man, I don't want to get high. And this was cool, but you know, that only lasts for, you know, for so long. And it was so funny because when I dated my wife, I was hiding it from her. And so she would smell it and she would smell smoke. And so she was thinking, oh, he's probably smoking cigarettes or whatever. So long story short, we eloped and it was a night that we were supposed to get married. I was supposed to get married on the 29th of December, which is my birthday. And that was the plan. And it was the night before that. And it was like, I was just feeling convicted. Like, I got to let her know somehow. Like, you got to, because you've been hiding this. And so my way of handling it was we was in a hotel room and it was just, I went in the bathroom, closed the door, and I was like, well, how we gonna tell her? And I was like, just light it up. And so I just lit it up. Just lit it up and was like, and then of course immediately she started smelling it or whatever, and then she kick on the door. She's like, is that too? And I was like, yeah. And then at first, and I remember it vividly, at first she was like, why you didn't tell me? Why you know, she was trying to be cool about it, but I knew she wasn't, you know, cool with it. And I was like, nah, whatever. And it was whack. So that night I remember us going out to dinner and she was, you know, being very disappointed or whatever. And so eventually I just, you know, still talked her into it. And on the 30th we got married and the journey began, if you will. Yeah. And so fast forward to now, it's like the ups and downs of it. I'm so glad that I had a wife who wanted to see better for me, you know. And on the outside, you know, people knew and see, James, you've been on vacation with us. You see me blow on plenty of vacations. And I could have, to a certain degree, kind of kept that up, but I wasn't cool with that, you know. And as you can imagine, you know, that starts wearing on your conscience after a while. And it made me take a back seat to a lot of, you know, probably spiritual opportunities and things of that nature. Because it's like, I'm not going to go there. Who am I? And which is sad because it kept me away from a lot. But bigger than that, it keeps you from like connecting with people. And so for a long time, you don't really truly connect with friends and family. And so it just makes things, you know, just distant. And what I've been loving during this whole time is just, like they say, living life on life terms and being able to really connect with people and really, you know, just enjoy the simple things in life. And so it takes a lot. It's more than just meetings, because I've been meeting with two therapists, because I was meeting with a therapist before I went to New Zealand, and then this program comes with one as well. And the one that I really like is the one that's in this program. And so I'm finna fire the other one. Unfortunately, it's a sister though, and I was rocking with her. But this other one is just, I think she's just a little bit more advanced, and she's really like familiar with, you know, substance abuse and being able to, you know, help you reprogram yourself essentially, because that's, you know, what it's about. And I just been enjoying, you know, clarity. And like I told the therapist, now boy, I can win them arguments at the house now, boy. Your boy.
He's back.
Boy, he's something to deal with now. But it's cool, and of course it's just, my wife is, happy about it. But with all that time and all that stuff of handling stuff wrong, there's still, room to heal. And I've taken her through a lot too. So we were just talking, last night about her, getting some therapy and all that kind of stuff too. So that's just, I know that was a lot, and a lot of you probably being like, wow, but it's more to come, because I feel at this point I will spend the rest of my days helping people get out, because I know a way out. See, I know bondage fully, but now I know the way out. And it's funny, I'm choosing this time and talking, and I'm hoping that I can help others that I know are in similar situations. And I know it because the more I talk about it and the more I bring it out to people, the more people pulling me to the side and being like, hey, brother, I'm dealing with things too. I'm just meeting people and just telling them stuff that I'm working on, because I'm working on like some creative stuff that has to deal with, addiction and as a believer, and how it shows up. And some people, like I said, some people can just be weekend casual with stuff and they are all right. And I wouldn't call them addicts. And I certainly wouldn't go around and telling people, oh, the weed is the devil's lettuce. I'm not that dude either, because I don't believe that. But the reality is, whatever it is, once you get to the point where you start idolizing it, it's a problem. And,
so look, this is why I love this. And this is where I feel like the three of us really vibe, because a couple people are going to think, I don't know if I can stomach that level of vulnerability or that level of honesty. But I don't think that's who's listening. I think when we sit down and do what we do and we think about the type of people that we really wish we could encourage, it's the person that wants to be honest with themselves, number one.
Yes.
Like, I want to be honest with myself. I don't just want to be honest with you. I want to be honest with myself. So like some of these things that we would say, oh man, that's a controversial topic. Yes, but who gonna have a conversation? Who gonna talk about it? And some people would say, oh man, y'all gonna cause somebody to stumble. I'm like, y'all are missing out on so much ministry because of what y'all are afraid of.
That's absolutely
like, come on, let's just have the conversation.
That's it, James.
And just allow adults to be able to figure stuff out for themselves. So somebody's maybe thinking like, oh man, he just made it sound like that's okay. Yeah, to a couple of people, they're going to run with it and they're going to run too far with it. Yes, people do that. They do that with knives. They do that with everything. But the conversation has to happen. Somebody's got to say, listen, these things are already happening. So we might as well be honest about it and let's talk these things out. Like when we have conversations with people all the time, we hear them like, man, y'all are so willing to just put it all out there. And not in a way that celebrates. I don't hear you celebrating nothing.
Nope.
I hear you saying like, yo, this really happened.
That's it.
And for anybody else having a 30-year affair with some kind of vice, it may not be that vice. But it could be some other vice that could be just,
absolutely.
They could just see like, this may not be a big deal to anybody else. Like when I talk about cigarettes, I'll be like, I don't see cigarettes as a sin. Ain't nothing about that. And there's plenty of Christians who are like, that's not a sin. I know people that for a long time said, oh, you out here smoking and drinking and gambling and fornicating. Like that was the list for a long time in certain sectors, especially in the black church. That was like the list.
Fornicating,
smoking and drinking. But they put them all on the same list. And it's like, well, smoking's not on the smoking's not on the list with the fornicating. And neither is drinking. And
you gotta,
somebody need to say that. Now I know you're gonna make granddad mad. But granddad been wrong this whole time. And somebody needs to like take the bullets for the people behind us. And that's who we always been. That's why I've always been able to rock with y'all. And some people will say like, yeah, I see why you would rock with them. But I'm like, you call it what you want, fam. I've seen a lot of people get closer to God because somebody was willing to be honest and say, hey, let's talk about this. Let's not celebrate it. We're not going to celebrate it, but let's talk about it because it's happening. What you think, Boogie? I know you've been on.
Yeah, this is the point of the podcast. That if you want to call it a podcast, you know what I'm saying? Like this is real conversation between, you know what I'm saying, friends, you know what I'm saying? And we're inviting everybody into our world. There's nothing fake about this. You know what I'm saying? And we're having real conversations that we would have even if the mics weren't on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, and my biggest thing was, like I told you guys, I want to have conversations that I wanted to have a long time ago, but didn't have nobody to have a conversation with.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because there are people that have the same feelings that we have, that in the same predicament, in the same places in life that we've been at, and don't know how to express it, don't know how to get out, and don't have nobody to talk to it about.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to bring this to light to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not alone.
Nah.
You're not alone. And we're really bad at this. You know what I'm saying?
I was trying, and then, the devil busy. I expected, and I said when I left the house, soon as I start talking about this subject, this was going to happen. And it's when I say this, it's going to be somebody at our Airbnb needing something. And I knew it was going to happen. So I'm like, whatever. And it just reminds me like, yo, I'm doing the right thing at the right time. But yes, Bookie, to piggyback what you're saying, that's what this was all about.
That made me think about deliverance. We got to talk about deliverance when we get to it.
Yeah.
Keep going though.
But it's the reason that I think I got to, one of the things that helped me to get to this point is that there was a brother, and I'll let him tell his own testimony at another time. But he came to our church, and he had, certain struggles in his marriage. And I'm just meeting the brother for the first time. He ain't been to the church for 30 days to my knowledge.
Okay.
But he was very transparent about what was going on in his marriage and what had, transpired or whatever. And I remember sitting there going, I want that. How he is transparent about what he is really going through. God, I want that.
Yeah.
Because he gonna help some people, and he gonna make it comfortable for people to start talking about their struggles. And that's what I've noticed. It is a chain reaction. When we get up and we really tell our testimonies, and I'm not talking about, and this is no offense, but this happens a lot. Christians like to, we know that the fight of the faith in part is putting off the flesh, putting off, the old man and the struggles and how it pops up or what have you. But some cats will talk like their struggles and all that stuff was in the past, like when they was in college. But, these grown men that ain't been in college 30 or 40 years, and you telling me that your only struggles was way back then. It's like you didn't have no struggles last week. And I'm not saying everything got to be some gross whatever, but I've noticed that. But what has happened is when everybody tries to play like it's all good, they not struggling or what have you, and they don't share that, it makes people who are struggling right next to them kind of clam up and not say anything. And then somebody begins to share, and then somebody else begins to share because it becomes, oh, okay, you too? You oh, that's happening? Oh, okay. And then it just makes it comfortable, for the next person. And I'm not saying it doesn't always happen, and I'm not saying it always has to happen like in a large group or whatever. You might be in a small group, and then you can share with that, that small group of what you could be currently struggling with. And it's just helpful. And I think there is this, I don't know, for some people, there's this cliche that, we all walk around like Flanders, right? From The Simpsons, right? And never have problems and never have real struggles, even though my boy, I don't know, I can't deep dive into Simpsons, but it's that's cliche, that's stereotypical Christianity where people are not really struggling, when the reality is that we all come to Christ, genuinely come to him, knowing that the best decisions that we can make for ourselves just don't work, and you come to your end at some point and really, really want to change and really, really see, how you need help. Now that's how you get saved. But after that, it's not like all struggle go away and all problems go away.
No.
And then don't mess around and get married, and then don't mess around and have children. And it's just like, yeah, you're going to have different struggles, but are you going to talk about them? or are we going to just act like everything is okay? And I know that because I speak from experience. I did that, and doing that, all it does is keeps you away from real help. That's that old adage, oh, fake it till you make it. I wouldn't even say do that in the professional sense, because you know what happens when you fake it till you make it? You don't get help. You won't get funding. You won't, because you got to be like, man, I'm struggling. I don't get this. Can I get help with it? And then you get help.
Right.
But if you don't reveal that and you act like everything is all good, people are going to treat you like everything is all good, and you're not going to get help. So
I think it's time to put the church on display. Like, bruh, we not perfect.
Yep.
And everybody's been walking around here with this facade on, like, oh, I'm Christian, I got saved, all my problems have gone away, like you said, and I don't have any struggles, and I just walk with Christ 24/7 by my side, and the Holy Spirit is in me. I don't do anything wrong. Like, bruh.
So Paul gonna struggle, but you ain't gonna struggle.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm reading in the text. He's struggling. He know way more than me.
Didn't David say, like, Lord, forgive me for the sins that I committed that I don't even know that I committed? You know what I'm saying? Like,
so I keep reading these people struggle, but I don't struggle now in 2024, and there's something off with that. But at the same time, I had to get to a place where God let me see, and I'll be honest here, I feel like he just gave me over to it like he does. So I could see I needed help. Like, this is not, a funny thing for you and just whatever. And there's something else at work too that's making you, want to be like this. And it's like, that's why I like the program. I like, therapy, because it gets to the roots of the why you're doing that. And then once you can get there, that can be uprooted, and then you replace it with other things that are most definitely more healthier. And being sharp and clearer, of course, than I've ever been, and just loving life. It means I'm probably like the happiest person in 12-step meetings, like this dude. And one dude asked me last week, he's like, Jerrold, because it was one little practice where somebody would, you would ask somebody a question in the group, and then they could ask somebody else a question. So I asked one dude, because he just seemed like he'd been going through another brother. He just seemed like he just been going through it. And I was curious. I was like, when is the last time you've been happy or really enjoyed it? And it was so funny because he lit up and really shared that. And then he threw it back to me, and he was like, I'm observing you, and I see that you're like real positive, and he's like, you really always have like insightful things to say. He's like, where did that come from? And then I said a couple places right off the bat. I was like, one, going through a lot of struggle, seeing a lot of hard times, and getting to a point where it's like, well, I didn't see a lot of hard times. I'm just going to try to enjoy the rest of the time that God has given me, and I'm not going to focus on the past and be that. And then I was like, two, having a solid community of people around me. I was like, that keeps me going and keeps me, because for me as a weed smoker, as I got it, like as I turned, like got it, I say probably within my 30s, I started like getting away from people who just smoked all the time. And so it's so funny, you always surround yourself with people who you really inspire to be. If you haven't figured that out, that's what you've done. You've surrounded yourself with people who you really, really deep down inspire to be like. And for me, it was mostly people who may have come from where I've come from, but now have made positive changes in their life. And it's like I had surrounded myself with those people. So it got to a point where it was like in my circle, I was the only one. I was the only weed smoker in my circle. And that's cool, because as of today, that works out. So I didn't have this struggle of, man, I got to get away from these people or that people. It's like,
or you're going to ruin the weekend.
Yeah.
You're the only one causing this problem.
Exactly. And a lot of people, they deal with that, James, and and I can see that. But it was like, And that was just the grace of God that I didn't have that. And another thing is I wasn't gonna be the chronic hat dude with the weed.
Just owning it?
Yeah, just owning it. Yeah. I never subscribed to that either, to be sitting around. For real, you know who I'm talking about. The dudes who do it. I was like, I can't, that's not a good look for me. And I just didn't desire that. So I just, stayed. And like I said, there is a part of me that's like, I could have continued on in that because my cover wasn't being blown that well. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure there were some people, because I remember when I first got around Adam and started hanging with Adam, and he hopped in the car one day, and I had just finished Blazer too, and I knew it was on me, and he got in the car. And he got kind of quiet, and I was like, and it just clicked. I'm like, I know it. Now, he didn't say anything in the spot, like right there on the spot. But later on, he asked me, and he was like, was that me? And it was like, yeah. And then I remember him talking, because this was around the time, this was before it got legal in California. And shout out to my boy Adam. But he was like, it's funny because he gave me some bad advice. He was like, well, man, you should at least like get a card. So if you if the police pull you over something, you could, easily say, I got a medical card. And I was like, boy, you are on to something. And it was nothing to get a card. Now, this was before it became, like I said, fully legal. And boy, did I lose my mind at that time. I don't know what date that was, because back then, right now, it's like a liquor store, so everybody can go up in there, right?
Right.
But in the beginning, imagine all of the dispensaries with no crowd. It's only people who got medical cards.
Yeah.
So they trying to get your business. So the thing was, when you went to them the first time, oh, your first time here? Yeah. Free samples. And Bookie, Bookie, they would give you bags, right? And all kind of stuff. Then all the stuff with it, grinders and all this little stuff. Man, your boy went, and there's 2 apps. I won't mention them. I ain't trying to turn you off, but it's 2 major apps that you could use to kind of find where dispensaries are. Boy, I pulled up the maps, and I was like, boy, we finna knock all of them down. And I was going to a one by one. It's your first time? Why, yes, it is. And it was like, free, boy, I stocked up so big, and it was a time. But another thing was, you got to understand, it was like prohibition. So it was like, it went from illegal. It went from my high school days to early 20s, going to back alleys and the doorways.
To a gold rush.
It just opened up, and people are starting to tell you about it, and this is good for this and this and that. I'm like, boy, I turned into a weed snob, trust me. And it was so funny because the dude told me that when I got a card, that's exactly what was going to happen. He's like, some dude, I remember I was Ubering, and some dude said that, oh man, you could get a card, blah, 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 but you're going to turn into a weed snob. So it's like, yes, every product, everything. So I'm well versed in it, but at the end, it's all fun until it's not.
Yeah, I think it's a trip. It's a trip to hear people come clean with some of their stuff, because I look at some of the other stories that we don't hear about till it's too late. Yeah. Like there was a really clean cut family that my wife used to watch, the Duggars, and they had like 20 something kids. So it was like a reality show because they had so many kids.
I remember that.
They was connected to a church, and their son was molesting somebody, and they tried to cover it up. Yeah. Instead of really going to the cops and really digging in, they tried to do some kind of church thing.
Yeah. And
that dude was unleashed on the rest of the family.
Yeah.
And it got real ugly. And this is all, documented, well documented. He's in jail, whatnot, I think. But like the idea was, if this could have been embarrassing at the beginning, it wouldn't have had to be embarrassing at the end. Yeah. If we could have just like stopped this at the beginning. Then you got this other thing, like there's this Morris guy that he just got caught with all these different girls that he done molested. And he's a pastor, and it's a big church. And there's countless stories like that where it's like, okay, somebody should have been able to come through and say something.
Yeah.
Because I know people was talking to you. I know there were certain things like people was hitting me up like, hey, what's going on with this and what's going on with that?
Yeah.
And some of them was elders and pastors, and I would be like, okay, well, I know these people know about that, so go talk to them about that because they know already, and it's not my business until y'all make it my business.
Yeah.
Like if he wants me to walk with him, he'll let me know.
Yep.
But enough people had talked to me about it to see if I was in on it too, and I'm like, nah, I'm not in on it. Like I'll smoke a cigar or something, but I'm not interested in that because that was a real vice for me in my teens.
Yeah.
So I can't play with that. I know
Yeah.
I can't play with that.
Yeah.
And then, but the idea that these things can go like the Ned Flanders concept you talked about with the Simpsons, that there was a running joke that I used to pick up on that dude was on the brink of insanity trying to keep up that persona.
Yeah.
He wasn't happy trying to keep that appearance up. And I'm not saying like being clean cut is anything to be ashamed of, but trying to appear as clean cut when you know you got skeletons in the closet.
It's crazy.
Like that's pressure. Like every time I've been in those seasons, they are pressure. Like I gotta talk to somebody. I don't want to keep this up. I'd rather be known as the person who has real struggles than the person who like, oh, we gotta find out about this the hard way.
Yeah.
Like he get arrested for having the wrong videos on his laptop, that type of stuff. I don't want to go that far. So hey, I need help. I don't want it to get to Jerrold on Subway. I don't want to get to that.
Yeah.
And I don't have any interest in that. But my little perverted interest in what might not be that could end up as that. And I'm afraid of that. I don't assume that. No, I would never want to look at whatever you want to call it. I would never want that. That's what I say today.
Yeah.
But I don't want to find out how deep the rabbit hole goes. I don't want to find out.
Yeah.
How deep it goes.
I don't want to find out. So I'm like, hey, come help me. Y'all come help me. Let me confess this to somebody. I'm not going to confess it to everybody and just let them use it as a weapon. But I got to tell somebody.
But I'm saying just somebody being like that around me made me be like, boy, that's possible. And like, man, if he could be transparent, boy, I know
About that?
That's what I was thinking about that. I'm like, Jerrold, come on. And even that time, it was so funny, James, that you bring that up because we was at a men's meeting together, you and I, and you brought up your cigarette situation. You like, man, you know, and they talked about it, they threw it around, and I was like, boy, is this the time? Is it my turn next?
Do you remember how crunchy it got? You remember how crunchy it got? Because I'm talking about like I've had a cigarette once a month.
Yeah. Your boy, somebody was
twice
on
a
you.
month, and somebody else who was smoking like 2 packs a day was on my head like, yeah, brother, you got to get rid of that sin, brother. You got to get rid of that sin. And thank God for my pastor. My pastor was like, well, hold on.
Yeah.
Because this person is, James, you don't think this is sin, right? You're not calling this sin. This is my pastor, y'all.
I know.
My pastor stepped in and is like, hold on. We're not having a sin conversation.
Yeah.
James has made a commitment to his wife that he's trying to keep for health reasons.
Yeah.
I don't have an addiction issue. I'm not buying packs of cigarettes.
Yeah.
I'm not at that space I was at when I was in the Philippines or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm past all of that.
Yeah.
We figured out that ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
So I've been, I'm in the Philippines for 5 weeks. We all just at the water hole, just smoking. Like that's how we coped with being away from our family for 5 weeks. And we did that 5 or 6 different times in different countries. And so I came back like, this not sustainable. And wife was made sure like, this ain't going to work.
Yeah.
You can have a cigar every now and then with the fellas. You ain't going to be out here smoking packs.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool. But then it got to a place where she was even like, look, I want the whole thing gone. And I'm like, well, this is not a thing for me. She's like, but it's a thing for me.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I can honor that. I can honor that. That's enough. So when I brought it to the table and I'm like, I made a commitment to my wife and I've been breaking it. I've been, with my mom. I might sit and smoke with my mom a cigarette or two. But it's not like I'm going getting a pack. Let's make sure. It was never that. So when he tried to bring it to that, I was like, you're not making this easy, fam.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be honest with you. And you turning this into a sin issue. And my pastor caught it and was like, this is not a sin issue, fam. This person is talking about a commitment he made to his wife that he's trying to keep.
Yeah.
And let's keep the conversation there.
And that's why I said I can't I had the same conversation with one of our pastors about, marijuana as well. And it's the same thing. I can't say that everybody is doing that. It's sinning. I can't say that now. I know some people will argue.
That's fine.
Like that, and that's fine. I get it. But the reality is, man, you know when something is ruling you versus
that's a fact.
Versus just something that you catch. Because I would smoke with casual people who didn't smoke all the time. They'd be like, "Oh, Joe, I can't mess with you," because I had a high tolerance. And so I was always with people who would just dabble a little bit or whatever. They was just entertaining me because they just with me in this day and they doing it, but it wasn't nothing that they, did. And I used to wish I was like them. I was like, oh man, I wish I was like that, and turn it off.
Like take it or leave it.
Exactly.
Casual,
it's just,
like you could do with a drink.
That's what I
know
was
you
just
can do
about
that with a drink.
That's what I was just about to say. Because that's how I am with alcohol.
Yeah.
It's never been my thing.
Yeah.
It's never, I might drink with my wife, or I'll drink with y'all, but those would be the only times. It's like I don't enjoy drinking like that. And I think some of it was because I was smoking heavy. It's like I just thought to myself, you can't be doing both. It's like, but it just really wasn't a thing. And so like that, I would see people be with marijuana. It was just like whatever. But when it has become a vice, it's like nobody had to tell me really that it was a vice, because you start to plan the whole day around it. You can't see yourself, going 24 hours without it and all of that. And thank God, once, I committed to it and I believe God just took that away from me. Like I don't have urges, and that's been another thing. And I'll be talking about it in the weeks to come. I'm not going to belabor it all on this podcast, but it's
this is the topic, because I got a question for y'all.
No,
keep going.
In recovery, people were like, well, as soon as I got into the program, they was like, well, how are you with urges? And I'm like, I really ain't tripping, because I was really at the point where it's like, I just need some other tools so I can just live a normal life. And I was sold out to that. And so they were like, well, we have some drugs if you, what did the doctor say? He said, I got a few tricks up my sleeve if you need, that. And it was like, nah, I'm good. And then, but this was all pre-evaluation.
So this would be like a substitute for just going out and doing something wild. You can do something kind of controlled.
Yeah. So here's a drug that we have that will take the urges and stuff away.
Yeah.
And so during the intake process, I get you asking me that, and that's cool. And I'm like, whatever. And then, they check in, they keep checking in on you, whatever. They ask, well, how's urges or whatever. And I'd be like, man, I'm cool. I'm loving life. I'm loving clarity, whatever. And then one time I met with one of the directors of the program. It's like two big directors there. And he was like, oh, I want to talk to you and then sit down. Now, he's not a doctor. And he's sitting there and we talking. And I'm telling you, within a 30-minute conversation, this dude offered them prescription drugs 3 times. When I talked to the therapist the next time, I said, tell your staff, especially because I told her the experience, didn't feel that. It felt a little icky in him doing that. I was like, tell him I don't want no prescription drugs. I thought we came here to get off drugs.
You felt like it was a kickback involved?
Boy, no, it is kickback. And there's another aspect to it. And shout out to my boy Donald at CFBC, because he be going into the program. I pulled him over and I was like, man, D, this is what's going on. I'm finna go into this program, blah, blah, blah. And I knew he was somebody who had been there. So I felt real comfortable telling him. And I'm thinking, Donald gonna be like, oh, praise the Lord, man. Good job and all that. He did do a little of that, but he was like, be careful of them programs, because they really don't have an answer. And what he's saying to me is because it's a secular program. It's not, it's not like Celebrate Recovery, which I do plan on joining when I finish this.
Yeah.
But so he's like, be careful of not just the prescription drug aspect, but they really don't be having like the spiritual answer. So it's sad to see a lot of people try to white knuckle through this, and they don't have God. They don't have anybody to give it to. They don't have a community. A lot of folks be from other states, and they've come out here to California because of the program is dope out here, and they don't have nobody, to support them. So it's So I think this. It's an ugly side to it. That's all I'm trying to say.
I think this podcast is a form of rehab for a type of Christian that would leave the faith if they didn't find out it was people like us that felt like them. And Bookie's been talking about this for decades. We've always talked about like our perspective, and there's a bunch of dope people that you name, like Donald and Adam, and a bunch of people that share that. I call it like a shelter, where it's like, I feel like I'm too churchy for the world. Like they can smell the Jesus in the church on me. I'm quoting scripture and all kind of stuff. They know he's churchy. He's churchy. He ain't gonna go with us to the strip club. He ain't gonna cheat on his wife. He not gonna do none of that stuff.
Get all that.
Get drunk with us. He ain't gonna do none of that stuff. You could tell. All you gotta do is notice a couple of conversations. You're like, all right, we see Bookie ain't down with all of that. We get it. But then you get to the other side. You're like, okay, so I'm over here with the believers, and then you find yourself too relevant for them. Yeah. Too aware of your circumstances. I'm not going to call it worldly because that's not what it is. Yeah. It's too aware, too sensitive, too not compassionate, but there's an awareness that you have of what the human condition is. Mm-hmm. And you don't just care about churchy folks. You care about the average guy because you know you are one at the end of the day.
There you go, James.
You know that you are one, but that puts you in a place where you need a refuge. It really does. And that's what I always wanted this pod to be. That's what Bookie always wanted our original pod to be that we working on, where it's like, but here's my question. What do you say to the person that listened to those exposés about weed struggles and cigarette struggles and they're like, oh, I can't rock with y'all. What do you say to them to stay? What would you say to them? Why should they stay? And that's for you, Bookie. Because why should they stay? Because you've been the main one that said this is why we need this.
Stay. What you mean by stay?
Keep listening.
Keep listening.
Because somebody who wants to be accepted in a church might want to run from this at this point. Mm-hmm. And you know that's true.
Well, I had a situation this weekend, right? Mm-hmm. So we had our very first church picnic at our new facility, right?
I've seen those pics too.
Yeah. So
look, you had a good
So
one.
I invited one of my former coworkers from my old office.
As you should.
Yeah. So I invited her over because she was dealing with some real life issues. You know what I'm saying? Marriages and different things like that.
Sure.
Right?
She needed a break.
Yeah. So at first she hit me like, oh, well, I'll see if I can stop by, this and that.
Yeah.
So usually when somebody say that, you don't expect them.
Yeah.
So I was just sitting there chilling. Wifey was on the grill, just talking to people. And she shows up. I see her. I'm like, oh, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? I didn't think you expected to come. And so she sat down, and I introduced her to like my inner circle at the church, and everybody around, whatever. She already knew my wife, whatever. Yeah. And so we're sitting around, time passed. We talking and different things, and I'm joking with my boys, Rich and all of them. And then she says, Lamar, you are the same person here that you are at work.
Yeah.
And in my mind, and she knows that this is a church gathering.
Yep.
So in my mind, I'm thinking like, you didn't think I was going to be you. What did you think I was? You know what I'm saying? And when she said that, it's just like, this is what they need to see. Yep. And then check this out. On my way here, I was talking to one of my other coworkers that still work there. Yeah. And she's a Christian and whatever, this and that. And she was telling me, oh yeah, such told me that she went to your picnic and this is how dope it was, right? Mm-hmm. Let me get back to there. So we talking, and my wife come over, and I tell her, I'm telling her, tell my wife about your situations, because I've been trying to get them to talk about her situation, help her out, whatever.
Gotcha.
And so they're talking, and then I'm like, I'm not even listening. I'm just talking to somebody else. Mm-hmm. And so I get up, and now, mind you, they're sitting next to me. Mm-hmm. I get up and I go get me a hot link and the pop. But when I turn around and come back, they're in a whole prayer circle. You know what I'm saying? Oh, wow. Like they're in a whole prayer circle. She's crying, all this, and this and that. And then, and I'm just, and now this is my other coworker telling me. Yeah. Because she didn't went back to work and told her.
Yeah.
And then she's like, yeah, she told me that she gonna go to y'all church and check it out because she need to be at a church. So she gonna go over. She's like, yeah, I'm gonna go over to Lamar Church and check it out. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so saying all of this to say is like we're saying, be who you are.
That's it.
At all times. Yep. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I think this is what the people need to hear. This is why you're going to stay here.
Yeah.
This is why you need to stay here. This is why you need to listen. Because this is real people. We're real people talking about real things. Yep. You know what I'm saying? This is not a facade. We're displaying our faults. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think Solo said it the best, like in one of his rap songs. He said, he can't tip me with a joint. The devil can't tip me with a joint. Yeah. But he know about my anger ever since I was a banger.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we all got issues that we dealing with.
Yeah.
They not all the same. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we all have issues in the past. Like, things just don't magically go away once you walk up to, and people think that getting up out of your chair, walking down the aisle and saying the Lord's Prayer and all this is some kind of magical, you know what I'm saying? Seance or you know what I'm saying? That all of a sudden now you're saved and everything is gone away and you don't have no issues. You know what I'm saying? And that's not the reality.
That's not the reality.
And I think that's an issue with the church that is displayed like that.
Yeah.
And everybody think that they're, you know what I'm saying? I don't have these issues. You know, look, I wear my suit on Sundays and I'm you know what I'm saying? And
I already
that's
know.
not the truth, bro.
That's not the truth.
Every day, I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but I sin every day. You know what I'm saying?
It's not a 24 hours going by without us not sinning in some way. That's not to say, we celebrate it. That's just how it is.
It's not a celebration of it.
Or whatever.
It's real life.
It's real life. And the more that you get into your word and the more that you read, the more you see.
The more that you see that I have sinned.
I have sinned.
You know,
I do that too.
I didn't do anything purposely today.
Yeah.
But then situations happen where I had a bad thought.
Exactly.
Like, man, I go upside this. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And if we're being judged by our word, our thoughts, and our deeds. See, your deeds might be good one day, but thoughts is off. You know what I mean? Your thoughts might be cool, but you did so. So it's like you can't escape that, and that's why we're constantly asking, God to cleanse us, help us, and constantly putting off. And yes, it's like I said, somebody came around me and was bold enough to share what I considered like a serious, offense.
Embarrassing,
right?
Yeah.
And it was like, God was like, you see what I'm doing over here?
See what courage look like?
Exactly. He was like, see what it looked like? And I'm like, yeah. But I didn't run from it. I was like, I want that.
Eventually.
That's that's exactly what I want. And it's like, well, there's a road, there's a road to that. And I think, and I know it, that God is going to use all of our shortcomings, bad seasons, or whatever you want to call, for his glory. We don't know how it's going to look. But like I said, I know, and I was sharing this with my wife, I know I will spend the rest of my days helping people get out of that.
This is the part we don't normally.
You know what, James? Can I say one more thing?
Finish your thought, yeah.
So, like, you've talked about your cigarette issues, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dealing with, and you've talked about your marijuana issues.
Yeah.
So for me, it was neither one of those issues for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not a drinking issue for me either.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But what an issue is for me is that when times get rough, when money get tight, and I don't see nothing coming through, first thing coming to my mind is, let me make a phone call.
Yep.
Let me try to go get this real fast.
Got to get this.
And I know how to go get it.
Yeah.
And that's something in my past that I've done. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And you can read between the lines, people. You know what I'm saying?
I got that.
I don't know if it's statute limitations for things that I've done in my past. You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
This is a real issue for me. And the way I handle it is like, I actually talk to people like, man. And then, what's crazy is, like, in times past, when the money got tight and things get to happening, bills get to piling up, and you trying to be that man, you trying to be the provider.
Yep.
Phone rings or get a text out of nowhere.
Tell me about it. The devil always says,
bruh, like there's really
it's a real
devil at work, bro. Because I haven't talked to this person in forever.
I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Like years?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm looking at a number like, hold on, I know where the area code is coming from. Like, who is this?
Yeah.
Answer, hey, what's up? Whoa. Oh man, what's up? How you still got my number?
Seemingly right on time.
Right on. Look, I've had my same number since like '98.
I'm with you.
You know what I'm
Same
saying?
here. I've never had a different cell number.
When they hit, it was like, oh yeah, I still had your number. Yeah, hey man, hey, what's the number on? Like, oh God. And then I actually have to tell somebody like, bro, I got a phone call. because now I'm being held accountable.
There you go. You right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I got people around me that know the past, and they be like, "Oh, hey, what happened? What did you say? What did you do?" Or weeks later, "Oh, did they call you back?" Or what? You know what I'm saying?
You have enough sense to know that you can't keep that to yourself.
I can't keep it to myself.
And that's how. Look, everybody is dealing with something like that at some point. And if you're not dealing with it right now, currently, you should be wanting to help other people who may be in that predicament. It's just like what I think is some people's stumbling block, if you will, because it was mine, was you still messing around with it. So of course you ain't finna be the one to be helping somebody get out of it.
That's right.
But if you are really, I believe this, and I'm a living witness. He who the Son sets free is free indeed. And you are free. That's why you are able, Bookie, to pick up the phone call and be like, man, I don't want to go left, and I need to let you know. Because what you're doing, low key, is you booby trapping, going easily getting back into an old habit. And we have to figure out ways. Now, for me, it was an extreme. It was like, yo, I know I knew I wasn't going to stop on my own.
Okay.
Because it was very clear. It's like I have to be accountable to somebody, and it got to be more than just a phone call twice a month. Like, man, how are you doing? And I'll be like, I'm all right. I'm good. Wow. I'm good. I'm good. I'm really good. You know, and it's like, nah, I need some people who know it, been down the road, and could help me out. And so I knew I had to jump in the program, but being accountable. And that helped. But what's really helping is the pod. That's one thing, because it's another avenue where I'm sharing it. You got to drag this stuff out in the light if you really do not want to deal with it, and have people hold you accountable to it. And the power, if you will, of it will wane. It'll go away. What kept me so, I think, in a vicious cycle with it is all the guilt and shame that come with it.
Yeah.
And so you got guilt and shame.
Yeah.
And then you want to escape the guilt and shame. So you keep doing the thing that produces the guilt and shame. And then you're just stuck in a vicious cycle. But getting to the underlying issues of why we want to choose our own ways versus what God has got laid out for us, a lot of it is because we simply don't trust God. I was so scared of sobriety because I'm like, dude, I'm going to be a curmudgeon old dude who just hates everything. I'm like, I don't want to turn into that. And it's so far from the truth of what actually happened. But you was finna say something?
Nah, this is the perfect time because we've been talking about this. And cue up that one I sent you. I just texted you one.
Okay.
It's going to be really helpful. But it's time for us to say, like, why did we name the podcast I'm really bad at this? Like, when you first said that, I was like, yep, that's it. And anybody that's been around me long enough knows that I'm a Psalm 119 nerd. That's my favorite chapter of all time.
Which one, Jay? This one?
No, the one I just texted you. And it says stuff like what y'all been saying today. It says the last verse, when I finish this statement, run that. Yeah. The last verse of that chapter, after this dude has been going on and on about how much he loves God, about how much he loves the word, about how much he wants to do it. Yeah. Like I'm committed to this. I want to do this for real. I really want to do this. The last thing he says is I drift. Come get me. Yeah. And he's not saying I'm lost tonight. He's saying like my tendency is to drift. That's how it ends. And he says to God, come get your boy. Yeah. Because I will not be able to just fix this on my own. And the other thing, that's how it ends, but this is also how it starts. In verse 5, he basically says, I wish I was good at this. Psalms 119, verse 5 says, I wish I was good at this walk with God. So you're not just explaining something that, a couple people have to deal with. Everybody in scripture you find out is in this same boat. You got Moses fed up to the point where he's like, just kill me. Yeah. Elijah fed up to the point where he's like, just kill me. Job gets to the point where he's like, just kill me. Yeah. So you got this. These are our heroes. Yep. These are not just the random anomalies. No, this is the pattern of people who follow God. They get to the place where they're like, I'm not good at this. I don't want to do this no more. This is not fun. I don't like this.
Which should bring us hope.
Which should bring us hope if you can be honest enough to talk these things out with somebody, which is what's happening.
Yes.
And which is why I love that. So like somebody was asking, one of the listeners was asking, like, you got to talk about that, Jay. If this is scripturally based, that you think we're really bad at this is a scriptural concept, at some point somebody needs to hear that that's why y'all named it that. And I'm like, Psalms 119:5 and Psalms 119:76, among other stories where you find out I love this life. I love this God and I love this word, but man, it's a struggle.
And do we really trust believers who said, I've mastered this?
The Ned Flanders dude seems like he's on the brink of going out for some milk and never coming back.
Who says that?
You know what I'm talking about? Like, you know how they white people go out for milk and they never come back.
Yeah.
Black people go out for some cigarettes. and the dad never comes back. That's how it's always been framed.
Yeah.
The white dad goes out for milk and never comes back. And the black dad goes out for some cigarettes and never comes back. And that's what Ned Flanders looked like he's on the brink of doing.
Nobody.
And that is the joke on The Simpsons, that's not his true story.
Yeah.
That's what you see.
Yeah.
That's not his true story is the underlying joke about that family.
Yeah.
Like that's not what's going on behind closed doors.
Yeah. And I wouldn't trust someone who called himself a believer who in the same breath says, I've mastered my walk.
You don't even know anybody like that.
I don't.
You don't even know anybody like
because
that.
It would never work. Even if he was a charlatan, the charlatans know not to say he's mastered his walk because now he didn't really mess up his money. So nobody says it. You know what I mean? So that's just too weird. But yeah, what's up with this? You know
what hymn come to mind? When it talks about how do you say it? I'm prone to wander.
Yeah.
Lord, man,
that's this verse.
That's what it is.
At least.
Yeah. That's what it's saying. Yeah. That's the verse. That's the hymn that come to mind. How it goes? Prone to wander.
Lord, I feel
it. Prone to leave the God I love.
Yeah.
Take my heart and seal it. Like, bruh.
I understand that now more than ever, Bookie, and that is the prayer that you even in good times, and I'm having the great fellowship with the Lord, I still want to move there now because I know fully how I can just cut it off and because I know that, look, don't let me do that. Yeah. And if you're thinking soberly, no pun intended, you are thinking that. You are like, Lord, just keep me handcuffed. Yeah. Dude, keep my heart, close to you. Like, I understand that, more so now.
So this is why I wanted you to play that clip because Nick Saban is on this clip. And this is part of the reason why I love football because there were so many life lessons being taught during that practice, mainly during those conversations. But the person who doesn't think they have anything to do, they can't relate to what you're talking about, they're not paying attention. And this clip is going to tell you why. Listen to what he said.
Defined as do what you're supposed to do, when you're supposed to do it, the way it's supposed to get done, do the right thing, the right way, the right time, all the time. But I'm talking about self-discipline. We answer hundreds of questions every day that come down to these two things. Here's something I know I'm supposed to do that I really don't want to do. Can you make yourself do it? And then over here, there's something you're not supposed to do, but you want to do it. Can you keep yourself from it? If you can make those choices and decisions the right way, you're always going to be able to stay on the path to accomplish the goals. But we're talking about feeling versus choice. You're going to do what you feel like doing, or you're going to choose to do the things you need to do to be successful. And there's a difference in that. Discipline defined.
Yeah, and I see like I'm imagining somebody, and I'm not mad at that person. I'm not going to be the grace. I'm giving grace. I'm not going to go into this gracism you talked about. That was the perfect intro for this episode. I'm not going to do the gracism thing.
Nope.
Because the person who's looking down on, how could you fall to that? You're not paying attention if you don't think that's you. Nope. So like Bookie said, it may not have been that thing. That's not my thing. I haven't fallen to that.
Everybody's thing is not.
But the thing that you do fall to is, it's going to ask you, are you going to do what you feel, or are you going to do what you know you're supposed to do? Or are you going to choose to do what you're supposed to do? And everybody should be able to relate to that. Whoever wrote Psalms 119 can relate to what Jay is saying. Yeah. So anybody who can't relate to what Jay is saying because of the specific vice or the specific struggle, you're not paying attention.
You're not paying. And I'll go this far. I'm really like, I'm focused on people who need help. So the person who may have been listening to this and heard that and be like, man, that's not my thing, but man, I need help in this other area. That's who. And I'm telling you, I'm just casually telling people like, man, I'm working on this thing, man, about addiction and blah, 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 blah. And I'm having just casual conversation with them. And in these conversations, because I've been transparent like that and saying that I work, they're telling me in the same breath, yo, man, I'm dealing with this addiction too. Can you blah, blah, and now I'm reaching out to that person. And what I'm saying, that's why I know it's a chain reaction. And here it is, a secular therapist telling me that's going to continue to happen. That's just something that happens, because what you're doing is you're giving people room and freedom to share their stuff.
What's going to continue to happen? I might have missed what you meant. What's going to continue to happen?
Your transparency about you dealing with your addiction is going to make other people say, hey, I'm dealing with it too. I've seen it in my marriage group. Yeah. One couple starts it off and say, man, we really blah, 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 and start sharing their stuff. And it goes, now the next person is like more comfortable. Like, yeah, we're struggling with that stuff too, and blah, blah. And it just happens. But it takes somebody being transparent to get the ball rolling. Yeah. And if we're all playing like we got it all together, and we're not really struggling with anything or need help with anything, well, guess what? You won't get help and you shouldn't kind of wait till things just blow up for that to happen. You know what I mean?
You know what else is dope in here too is that this person is doing what you said in Psalms 119, and he says over and over again, don't give up on me. He says that to God. Don't give up on me. Like, I'm really trying to do this. I'm not good at it. I'm not going to act like I'm good at it, but I really want to do this. And over again, he says, do not give up on me. Because he's aware that he has broken all these promises that he made to himself and to God. Like Saban was saying, like Nick Saban, he know what he's talking about. He puts out a disciplined product. Them people are disciplined at Alabama. You know what I'm talking about, Bookie. Like, that's a disciplined football team. Yeah. Because he tells you, hey, if you make a promise to yourself, stop breaking it. You made a promise to yourself. Stop breaking it. Yeah. You said you was going to have discipline. And maybe he's talking about eye discipline. You know, they can trick you to go left so they can make somebody go right and you mess up the whole play. But in life, that's the same thing the devil is doing, right? He's trying to get you to look over here to the right so he can throw something in your way on the left. And that's why I love football, because of those life lessons. But what Saban was saying is like, discipline yourself so that the promises you make to God, you can actually keep. And over again in Psalms 119, he's saying, I've been breaking these promises to you, and you have every right to abandon me. Like, I haven't even done what I said I was going to do. And that's all of us. We all may not do it the same way, but the people who aren't willing to admit that they've been doing that, I have a hard time enjoying their company sometimes. I'm not going to lie. I still want them around because I need them. I know I need people who don't think like me, because I want to be reminded, yeah, this how you want to act too. You want to act like you got it all together too. This how you want to act too. So I need those people around me sometimes, but I really do cherish moments like this where I'm with company and I don't have to explain myself. Yeah. And that's what this pod is all about. Like, you're sitting in the room, even if you're in your car, even if you at your desk, you're in a room of people who get it. Just like that dude in Psalms 119, he gets it. It was some dude who wanted Jesus's help, and Jesus asked him, do you believe? And he was like, help my unbelief. Like, I don't know if what I feel is on the level of what you deserve, but help bridge the gap. Like, fill it, like, fix it for me, because I need your help. And I don't know what else to do but ask you for help. I don't deserve the help. And if maybe I'm not believing enough, that's messing with you. But like, help fix that too then. Yeah. Because I need you to help my daughter, man. Like, I need whatever I got to do to get your attention. I need your help. So he was like, well, help my doubting then. If I'm doubting, help my doubting then. And that's like, that's who your heroes are in the scriptures. And anybody who hasn't grown to that level, that's fine. We get that. We're all growing at different paces, but this pod is specifically built for people who are starting to get that. People who've been wanting to have somebody they could hear express things like that. Like, yeah, I don't want God to give up on me too. I done broke 2 promises. I heard this one song from this dude. He said, the song is called How Do You Love Me, first of all. And he says, knowing last time wasn't the last time. How do you love me? I said it was the last time I was going to do that. And you knew in advance that was a lie. Knowing last time wasn't the last time. How do you love me? It's one of my favorite songs by Sango and Omar. I don't know his name. His name used to be Spazzy Rocket. I don't know what he changed his name to. Xavier Omar. How do you love me? And man, knowing last time wasn't the last time. Like, I'm telling you, I'm not going to ever do this again, Lord. Me and her ain't going to ever do this again. We done. And God is sitting there like, I'm watching next Thursday. You finna be right back.
To be right back.
You finna right back at it. Yeah. But I must forgive you because you asked for forgiveness. And you telling me this is the last time, but I know this not the last time. Like, that's good company to me. And it's not the same. This is the part that I have to say. And then you tell me, Bookie, what you think. There's a group of people who think we're trying to condone sins, like Romans. Man,
my thing is I don't focus on.
I know
people like that, and you know why? One, I don't run into people like that. I don't know. I don't attract or people like that. To condone it is one thing, you celebrating or whatever, but we can't mix up condoning with talking about it.
Yeah.
I'm talking about something, and then this is a part of my testimony. So I'm sharing with it, but I'm telling you, because I'm going to ruffle some feathers as I talk about this artistically. Like when I talk about the matter of fact, the night I was struggling with the whole about to go to New Zealand and had the conversation with my wife, and she was just laying it out.
Yeah.
The artist in me, like, I just created, and I created from that raw space of what was actually going on. And I loved it because I hadn't felt that in a long time. And I'm going to shoot a video, and it's going to be very, 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 very controversial because of the approach, but it's going to be the real thought and what was really going on when my wife was like, hey, I don't want to continue on like this. You're going to have to do something. And then my reaction, what was going on mentally at the time, is what I jotted down. And it was so funny because the rhythm or the actual like essence of the song just immediately came. And it was just like, I went, and because I got a recording situation at home, I was turned on the computer and just did it. And it just started to be a chain reaction to the word. I had to go back with my boy because I was already working on something and had to tell him, man, this whole project has changed now. It's a whole different direction. And then God just opened up the door. So later this month, I'll be filming a video about that night and my reaction, and without giving up too much, but it's going to be raw. And it's going to be people who are going to be like, man, I don't know, whatever. But guess what? I'm not focused on you. I'm focused on the person who was struggling just like me. And I know doing things a certain way will get their attention. All the naysayers and all the Pharisees and all the people, trust me, I don't have time for that, because God has made it clear people need help, and they need help from people who, have genuinely been helped by me. That's God saying, I helped you, so the way out.
Yeah.
Go get those people. And how it is, because I remember vividly like spending times in certain spots just smoking and blowing, and I would just park certain ways under the shade trees or whatever and just be in certain spots, and I would see the same car, same people doing the same thing I was doing. And I remember being like, dang, I wonder if they going through kind of, because I pull in this certain spot and be under the shade tree. And sometimes I would get there and the same car would be there and they'd be doing the exact same thing. And they was around my age too. This was no young people just having young people fun. Nah, it's a lot of people out there stuck and don't know. And I am producing things for them. So
we got a hard out too, Bookie. What can you do to talk to that person that you used to get accused of being that gray area dude, lukewarm dude all the time? And I think you probably would own some of that. Like you probably would admit you made mistakes. But what would you say to that person who's not trying to be lukewarm, not trying to make excuses, but I just want to be more honest, want to be more real. I just want to be more transparent, and it's getting turned into, oh, you just want to celebrate sin? Or how do you talk to that person? The sincere person, not the person that wants to wild out, because that's not who we talking to. What would you say to that person?
It's kind of cliche that where people say, oh, that's between you and God. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But, we all have our self-convictions. Yep. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And not everything is sin, like we said earlier in the cast.
Yep.
Not everything is sin.
Mm-hmm.
But what helped me was finding a group of people like you guys who understood me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Every barbecue not for you.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
You know what I'm saying? Every vegan can't go to every barbecue. You know what I'm saying?
That.
You got to go somewhere that's actually preparing some vegan meals.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, just don't compromise who you are. You know what I'm saying? For the sake of other people.
Yep.
Be who you are. You know what I'm saying? And if people can't accept it, then go somewhere that you appreciate it.
That's
you know what I'm
it.
saying? Where people, because you're the person that needs the help.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day.
Yep.
And no man can walk this life by himself.
Nope.
You need somebody with you at all times. You know what I'm saying? Because there are, like you said, there were things that wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? That I may have been doing, but there were things that I knew there was a sin in my life.
Yeah.
And I just enjoy life.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And not everybody understood and not everybody can handle it. You know what I'm saying? And everybody is raised differently and everybody reads scripture differently.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I just take it as like, well, I was ahead of my time. You know what I'm saying? I was ahead of my time. You know what I mean? And so a lot of people didn't understand, you know what I'm saying? But I just knew in my heart, like, bro, I'm not sinning. You can't show me in the scripture where it says I'm sinning. Just because you might not feel what I'm doing or you might not understand or it might not be a part of your culture. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But it was between me and God, and the Lord heard my cry. You know what I'm saying? Heard my prayer. Like, Lord, put me around some individual, because I actually thought I was alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is, and like Jay said earlier, this is my reason for the cast that I've agreed to do several times. Is like, bro, it's people out there that was like me.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to the people that was like me.
That's all.
You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
Like, I was there. You know what I'm saying? And I'm here to help you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And you're not alone. Like Mike said, you're not alone, brother.
Not alone,
you know what I'm saying? It's people out here that's just like you.
That's real. That's real.
Yeah.
Well, it's that time. So I've enjoyed this one most definitely. But raise your glass, because we're about to get out here. It's a really bad toast. You might hear it differently now. But we all fall, but we say don't trip. We all been called, but all stall a bit. We all stand tall until that time we slip. Just admit, without the grace of God,
I'm really bad at this.